500,000 chickens have been put down so far just in Indiana as the bird flu runs rampant. And that's leading, of course, to higher prices at the grocery store. You've seen it with eggs. WDRB's Richard Essex tells us tonight the bird flu season is just getting started.
The state of Indiana is calling this seasonal bird flu virus that's coming into the state the biggest animal health emergency in history. How's it getting into Kentucky and Indiana? On the wings of migratory birds. Many of the sandhill cranes, geese, and ducks you see making their migration north are potentially carrying the bird flu virus. Dr. Christy Casey, a wildlife veterinarian with the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife Department, explains.
Yes, wild birds do carry all high path avian influenza and are the main reservoir for avian influenza.
The state of Kentucky tracks these cases, and so far the virus is suspected in 12 counties with tests pending in 8 more.
And there was a big concern there. So it's we can watch this detection move up the states. Basically, Tennessee called us the week before and was hey, we just had a die-off in sandhill cranes. A week later, sandhill cranes are here in Kentucky and dying.
In Indiana, just last week, a flock of 20 sandhill crane were found dead, victims of the bird flu virus. The virus is initially introduced by wild birds, but Dr. Casey says the spread into commercial farms is more complicated and not entirely the fault of migrating birds.
But sometimes this perpetuation of continual infections on farms comes from actually contamination from human-introduced factors, basically moving the virus around on either the bottom of your shoes, contaminated equipment, moving sick birds around.
In Indiana, the virus has been detected in 12 farms with devastating impacts.
In Indiana, since the first of this year, we've lost a little over 6.5 million birds.
Indiana is the third largest producer of eggs in the country, with, according to the USDA, 35 million egg-laying chickens. In late January, Roseacre Farms in Seymour lost 2.6 million chickens. And this month, another 3.5 million chickens were put down in Jay County, Indiana. All of this has led to a spike in egg prices, which, if you've been to the store lately, you know.
Every individual case is an emergency. This is considered a high consequence disease. And so it means all hands on deck for response.
The poultry industry has been battling this virus for about 3 years, and there is a vaccine. Currently, no Indiana farms are using it.
Vaccination's a tricky question.
Yeah.
Because USDA has announced they've approved a vaccine. It's just been approved. It's within the last few days. However, use of that vaccine is a matter of policy for international trade. So just because there's a product on the market doesn't mean it can be used widely.
With photojournalist Ebony Pettis, Richard Essex, WDRB News.